Foodie beauty, her name. On YouTube she reigned, with laughter and feasts, her mouth unrestrained. She met him online, a Syrian soul, in Kuwait's golden sands. Their love took its toll. Oh, food beauty, foolish and old, do your worst, she cried, her story unfold. Now in Syria's dust, where shadows abide, an outlawed queen with nowhere to hide. No water, no light, just hunger, harsh sting. Her emptiness burns, she will do anything. Her stomach is empty, her soul even worse. Her need for a man's love is her very worst curse. In Kuwait she taunted, do your worst. Defiant and proud, she retreated and cursed. But the law struck hard, now a life of crime. They fled to the warlands, no rhythm, no rhyme. Now in the ruins of Syria, hope fades. No Wi-Fi, no air, no bright yesterday. The table is bare, the faucet dry as stone. Her love by her side, an empty, cruel home. Oh, foodie beauty, foolish and bold, do your worst, she cried, her story untold. Now in Syria's dust, where shadows abide, and now a queen with nowhere to hide. No water, no light, just hunger, harsh sting. Her heart is humming a mournful lost string. In the silence, her memories quietly weep. Yet somewhere inside, emptiness so deep. For love, for a home, her delusions made her fall for a creep. In the desert's lament, her tail softly sways, a Middle Eastern dirge for her fugitive days. Food beauty, the star, now a whisper, a sigh. In Syria's embrace, neath a war-torn sky. This is the end, she will never survive. Chantal's life will end beneath the dark.
All right, so there is the bombing in Damascus, where there have been government officials killed. It looks like it may have been, it was a devastating blow. You can see some people looking on some other clips. Maybe they had like a bunker buster rocket that they used, which is quite, um, you know, yeah, LCC much better than Marcy. Had a good relationship with LCC. Yeah, Cece was a great, or remains great. He's an awesome guy. He loved his country first, right? He didn't do politics. He did exactly what the people of Egypt asked him to do, staying true to his oath to the country, not to any given political party. So Cece was a great man. All right, so oh, I'm sorry, deranged bunny. Well, we'll be here when you get done. um, so there's an awful lot that's going on, and I don't know how many of you have seen the pictures of Damascus actually being bombed. You can see where there's celebration among government troops, which sure does seem weird if it was just a misunderstanding, Marco Rubio. Um, I think that the American government is being far too forgiving of Jihadi Jolani. I think there's already so many problems. They don't want to deal with another problem. And this will not be going away easily. It's way too messy. So, I do agree with this. Let me say this. I do agree with lifting the sanctions in the beginning. And the reason that I agree with that is because of this. The sanctions were placed against Assad, correct? The sanctions went against Assad and the old regime. So we're going to just be totally fair. Then I think that you get a new government, new president, then you start over new. And so that's what they did. They dropped the sanctions only weeks ago. That's what's so crazy about this whole thing. It was literal like 2 weeks ago that the US dropped sanctions against Syria and other countries began to follow suit. Now we're looking at a reinstitution of sanctions. They haven't said that yet, but that could be on the table. So I think I also did not like the messaging. There's some messaging coming out from the State Department. How do I say this? They're blaming Israel. And one of CNN's first headlines was something like Israel attacks Syria. Okay, well, currently, right now, we're now up to something like nearly 400 people killed in the massacre in Soweto. Okay. So when irresponsible governments and irresponsible media, when they do a headline like Israel attacks Syria, especially on the heels of what's going on with Gaza and all that, it's just inflammatory, and it fails to tell the truth of what the story actually is that is happening. So the reality is that Syrian forces went into a minority area and committed a terrific, horrific massacre. Yeah, the Jelani's military, Al Qaeda, renamed HTS, they went in and massacred little kids and families, women, men that were not military combatants. They wiped the villages out. Every hour, the number of dead is increasing. It started with, 30 died. And then it went to 67 died. And then it went to 100 died. And now here we are, nearly 400 dead of Druze. And the majority of these people that were living in these villages, the majority were women children, and old men. And so you have to ask yourself, okay, would the Syrian president, why would he send his military to go down there and wipe out a bunch of women and children and old men? How much trouble can they be? Well, so the men of fighting age, they're up on Mount Druze, right? They're defending. So they're actually combatants. They're fighting. So they're up in the hills, up in the mountains. The villages are the families, the old men, the women, the kids. And so because the military was having a hard time getting up to the mountain, because the combatants are in a position that they are able to shoot down and keep the Syrian army off of them. They basically set up a scenario where the fighting men, the Druze and Israeli and Christian fighters, where they had to come down. And that was these jihadi bastards committed this just massacre, wiped out these villages. And when the fighters, when they saw what was happening, then they came down to try to protect or try to save anyone who was still alive, and basically left them sitting ducks. So that's the misunderstanding, Marco Rubio. That is your misunderstanding. So according to the United States government, the only way that they could have avoided all of this was for the Druze men to just stay in the mountains and let the jihadi assholes destroy the village. Right? That's all. So then, of course, you have this massacre. You have the Druze, Israeli, Christian fighting factions. They come down to try to put a stop to this slaughter that's happening. And then the military moves in with tanks and begins genocide. And Israel responded and said, no, we can't do this. We're not going to have this. And that's where we're at now. And so a massacre of old men, women, and children gets renamed by the United States government, gets renamed to a misunderstanding. I would like to know what the misunderstanding is. And I would like to know why CNN puts up a headline, Israel bombs Syria. Why do we do that? Because these situations are horrible all by themselves as they stand, just the facts of what is occurring. Why do we need to stir the pot and make it worse? Why does the media have to stir up and get people, just incite more harsh, hard feelings? Why is that? So these are actually videos of Druze that are running to try to help in the villages. And of course, most of them were, slaughtered. It's a disaster of epic proportions. A disaster of epic proportions that lays at the feet of Jihadi Jolani. Period. It is really tragic and horrible. I mean, you can tell. Look at the see right here. Nope, I missed it. Come on. Okay, I've got another. There was a news station that was broadcasting at the time of the bombs, the rockets that went into Damascus. There's the nice men with the machine guns. They may call themselves the Syrian army. The rest of the world knows them as Al Qaeda. Now then, here is the lot. This was the broadcast that captured the explosion. This is a huge deal. This actually happened while we were live earlier when we were talking about Foodie Beauty. There it is. That was the first hit. She almost does it right there. It hits her. The shock wave is so hard. See, I think it was a bunker buster. See how it hit and then it took a little while for the rest of it to blow up? That is actually, see, that's the rest of it blowing up. It went in and it goes low. Um and boy, it blew something sky high. I was trying to look at it, see what it was. Maybe it's like a safe room, perhaps. And there's another explosion. It was massive. All right. No word so far. We know that the mayor of Dara was killed. We don't yet know a lot of different sources. There are some reports that 18 people were killed in Damascus, not Dara, but in Damascus. Others say it was only one person killed. I find that very hard to believe. This is the middle of a work day, or when it happened, it was the toward the end of the work day, and you can see it hit every part of the building, right? So I'm going to be really surprised that there's only one person dead. I just don't believe that. You can see several people that were there walking down the sidewalk. As soon as that first impact hit, they hit the ground. It knocked them out. It may have even killed them. So this is actually, Foodie Beauty was right here the other day when she was live. I don't know if you remember. So sure would be interesting if at KFG was right there, wouldn't it? Very interesting, Chantal. And then go to, this is Saweda, Dara area. I mean, it is just, this is the worst possible location for them to have gone to. And I just cannot imagine what they were thinking. Other than Salah being a part of the boys club. Is he one of the Al Qaeda people? And he felt like he would be safe there. Now, we do have communication. Got a couple more clips going on right now. So as you are watching those clips, I will read to you somewhere. We have a communication from Cutie. So Chantal put out a message, like a post on her YouTube channel. She put out a post 2 hours ago around 12 o'clock Texas time. And it said, and I quote, "Hi guys, my health updates vlog was recorded a couple of days ago. I know there are some serious events unfolding in Syria right now within just mere kilometers from us. I told y'all, didn't I? I told y'all. I will come live in a few hours to talk about our situation. We are staying in the home to keep safe right now." The very fact that she believes during this period of time that staying inside of her home is the safest option for her, tells me 100% Salah is under the protection of Al Qaeda. 100%. It is the most astounding thing to have this realization that this woman legitimately, after all the history that's occurred over the past 10 years or so, that this woman would willingly marry a radicalized fool and then follow that fool to Syria, of all places, and convince herself that it's all perfectly normal and safe. I mean, honestly, it is pretty amazing. We're also getting information kind of under the radar. There's information that the activity in Dara, that they believe that there is a high value target in Dara, and they're taking advantage of the tensions in Sueda to go after the high value target in Dara. Isn't that interesting? Really, really interesting. So, all right. So let me take a peek in. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, maybe we do have something new. Hold on. Oh, okay. So here are some of the absurd comments being left by some of the Beezers. The Beezers are the people that support cute Foodie Beauty, her channel. I don't know why she calls them Beezers, but anyway, that's what she calls them. But just take a look. I hold them somewhat responsible for this. When I say this, I mean that Foodie Beauty is there in Syria in this situation. For sure, she's a grown adult and her decisions led her where she is. However, she's highly dependent on the love and appreciation of other people. She has very little personal identity, I think, that sustains her. And that does leave her wide open to needing the approval of other people, and also to act out in such a way that she guesses she can convince herself that she will get the appreciation and approval of those same people. And that's where the Beezers come into play. Hold on, I'll show you. And so if you take a person who is highly, highly dependent on the approval or the positive appraisal by others, that you need someone else to love you instead of you loving yourself, you're very easily manipulated. You're much more likely to do crazy things just because you think it'll make someone like you. And this is the kind of nonsensical horseshit that the Beezers surround this woman with every day. So this is Arashi, and she says, "Oh, I think it's romantic and loyal." Oh, wait a minute. I remembered. Everybody say thank you, Jules, for remembering. Okay. Sorry about that. At least I didn't go all the way through without showing y'all. All right. So this is Arashi, and this is the kind of nonsensical bullshit that I believe um, empowered Cutie to go to Syria. Like, I think this actually fueled her to go, because then she had like these illusions in her mind that if she went to Syria, everybody would love her. So let's read this. I think it's romantic and loyal of you to be together in Salah's homeland. Don't let the jealous haters run you off. Arashi, I got to make this perfectly clear. I can't think of a single solitary thing to be jealous of in this current set of circumstances. I think Salah is a ridiculous human being who is as weak and self centered and childish as they come. I cannot imagine being so foolish that I would call a ditch a valley, and I damn sure wouldn't go from living in just a healthy environment with clean running water and good air conditioning and heating and modern medicine at 500 pounds into a survival situation where food has to be brought in for the locals. Yeah, I don't think you're right, Arashi. I think you're bullshit about the jealous haters are trying to make uh, Foodie leave Salah. I think you are a dangerous human being. In fact, you may be 12 years old with the words that you've used here. You may be a 12-year-old little child, but we are showing more love and compassion for Chantal than your foolish bullshit is. She says, Gorlick bread thinks that you should run away like a coward. Or here's another thought, Arashi. Are you too a jihadi bastard? I'm going to guess yes. Gorlick bread thinks you should run away like a coward. I have gone on record. I have left a message for Foodie that she needs to head north. Two options: go north, get up north of Damascus, and then try to reach the Canadian embassy in Beirut. If that is not possible, then at least get to the Christian area in Damascus, live in your car, do not spend any money on housing or food, just keep clean water, and keep reaching out to the Canadian embassy in Beirut and explain to them that you are there and that you were tricked and that you thought you were on a tourist visa and that you need safe haven in Lebanon. And other than that, I don't know what she does, because there's no resources in country for what she's gotten herself into. Gorlick Bread said you should run like a coward. I second that, Gorlick. Two adults with the right idea. He would not know a loving marriage if he tripped over one. Yeah, this is definitely another ISIL bride. Salah will protect you in his home. He's a real man who would never send away his devoted wife. I wouldn't leave my husband's side either. Yeah, you're all ISIL brides and you're all pathetic. All right. Please tell me that you and Salah have a plan B if things get hairy. If they get hairy, H2O, if, I don't know, do you have a television? Do you have the internet? Are you able to like search for information? There is no if. They are in an area and bombs are exploding about them. Israeli bombs, if you want to be specific. Israeli bombs. Al Qaeda is fighting. The Druze are fighting. The Christians are fighting. And your queen, H2O, is sitting in the middle of them. So, what is your bullshit about a plan B? Like, when everybody that had information, that were educated, when everybody was saying, Foodie, you're in danger. You need to leave. You need to get out of that country right now. Don't wait a minute. You've got to go. Why do you think that we were saying that, H2O? Like, why do you think that was being said? In fact, I said, okay, if you don't want to leave Syria, at least go to Aleppo. You're safer in Aleppo. The absolute, the hands down most unstable area in the world is Dara. Like, what H2O, what did you think we were talking about? Now you don't go anywhere. You can't get on the M5. They might be able to take, well, there's some other road that maybe, well, I don't know. You don't know now because the Air Force base is there and the highways would be shut down by the military. Israel has made it clear they're not finished. No, they go nowhere. They sit. They go nowhere. There's nowhere to go. There's no plan B. The time to save yourself is finished, Foodie. You're done. Let's see what else. I think it's romantic. Oh, we already looked at that one. Yeah, isn't it shocking? It's just you can't believe it when you read that kind of nonsense. All right, let me look and see if she's posted anything new lately. Hold on. Oh, she chooses in the middle of a literal war. She posts, my sugars are normally double of what they are now. So this is a great improvement. This is what she's talking about while there's a war happening. Yeah, Tat Von B says, this delusional, you know what, is posting about weight loss. Salah in the comments dribbling his bullshit again while the minorities are being slaughtered. Let's hear you condemn the slaughter of minorities. That will not happen. She will never do that.
This shirt is fitting a lot better. And for that reason, I would
high as a kite. Holy hell. She is high as a kite. Look at her eyes. Salah, you evil little prick. You nasty, disgusting. You may be looking forward to being martyred, but you're wrong. You won't go to paradise. You have earned a special spot in hell, you evil, sick, pathetic bastard. Oh my God. It's disgusting. It's gross. It's hands down. Absolutely disgusting. All right, so let's do this. Let's go back over to YouTube and see if we can pull up the whole health blog. Beauty. I've never heard of a health blog during a war. I've heard of casualty alerts, but never a health blog. Okay, well, I don't see one there. Where is it at, I guess? Oh, she's posting about weight loss. Yay! It's crazy. Chantal, what is your major malfunction, honey? Like, sincerely. Wow. And of course, there's Salah's cameo. He's pushing her to make money. No time to take time out during a war. We got to make money for those freedom fighters, Chantal. You got to keep them filled up with good food, don't you? God, she looks crazy. She looks insane. Your merch is terrible. All right, here we go. Let's see just how bad things are. We'll be able to tell by watching, right? Yeah, it's so delusional, DB. It's just, this Toodles. This is a great time to worry about your blood sugars when the bombs are dropping all around you, the machine guns right outside your window are giving you nice music to fall asleep to. That is a great time to start thinking about your blood sugars and your weight. When previously you just said, nah, I don't care, not taking my insulin. All right, let's take this. I got a feeling, you guys, this is going to be shockingly bad. I got a feeling she's going to look awful.
Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing well, keeping cool in this summer heat. I hope the fan noise isn't too much for you. If I squint a lot, it's because the fan is like blowing on me, but that is very necessary. So anyways, today's video, I'm just going to talk a bit about my health and give you a few updates.
Girl, what is wrong with your eyes? What is he giving you?
So yeah, I'm going to
Look how swollen her eyes are. I'm sorry. I want to think about this a minute. Who in here? Okay, so I wear makeup every single day. Okay. I don't mind admitting to it. I look better with makeup. That's the way it goes. Okay. I wear makeup every day. I don't think I would be worrying about my makeup if there were bombs outside of my window. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it's weird that she would put a full face of makeup on in the middle of the start of World War III? No air conditioning. No, it's mindless. Crying, but putting on a brave front. Yeah, but isn't it appropriate to be crying during this? Wouldn't that be appropriate? This is not normal. This is not normal. Oh my God, Dale. Oh my God. No, you know what, Dale? She was taking insulin. She's also on methotrexate, and I think a couple other things. But she previously had insulin, and when she made this self-destructive decision to move to Syria, she just said, "Yeah, I don't need insulin. I'm not going to take insulin." Just boom. And when they got to Syria, she started drinking full sugar Pepsis, no insulin. The bombs were scared of her. Her makeup's gone. Where's she going to get more from? Oh, yeah. I'd say crying, but who knows her? Stoned out of her mind, probably. I was trying to look at the pupils of her eyes, but it's really hard to see because they're so swollen. Look at that. Look, you can't even see her whole pupil. Let's see. Let's do this a different way. Let me see if that'll help me. Yeah, her pupils are really big. She looks like she may have a black eye. Look, right here. It looks bruised. down to here and over like that. Her eyes look, but you know, but that it doesn't look like that there. Maybe she's got black eyes. Why are her eyes swollen shut? The other part is, you know, she's using filters, so it's hard. Yeah, her pupils are really big. That's the edge right there of the pupil, and then the other side is actually in being covered up. But they are big. Let me see over here. Yeah, right there. I swear she looks bruised. She looks bruised and swollen here, and definitely bruised right there on top of that cheek. What a damn disaster. All right.
It's like blowing on me, but that is very necessary. So, anyways, today's video, I'm just going to talk a bit about my health and give you a few updates. So, yeah, I'm going to start with my weight. Now, I don't have a scale here yet, but my husband Salah did say that he was going to pick one up at some point for me. So,
was there did someone detect a bit of negativity toward my husband Salah? Let's look for some micro expressions and see. It sure seemed like it was negative. Ooh, her pupils are enormous.
so. Anyways, today's video, I'm just going to talk a bit about my health and give you a few updates. So yeah, I'm gonna.
What is this? You guys that know her, that's not right, right? That's not normal for her to talk like that. Yeah, she looks very. I think she looks her face. She looks like she took a smack or two on around the cheek. Is what it looks like to me. Make a list of essentials during a war. Number 1, weight scales. Number 2, lip gloss. Boom. I mean, what more could a girl need, Jericho? Notice when she's saying this, she's shaking her head no. She's definitely negative about Salah. Watch.
So.
Watch.
Anyways, today's video, I'm just going to talk a bit about my
What?
health
Why did you
and
say no?
give you a few updates.
Doing that. That is
So yeah, I'm gonna start with my weight.
Okay, what do you guys think? What do you see happening? Yeah. I preach it, tell it like it is, girl. If my husband placed me in the middle of a war permanently, I sure would not be dripping in warm and fuzzy feelings towards him. Amen. Totally agree. Chantal does what Chantal wants. The itching is from opioid use. She has bug bites too, but I believe she's getting high off of some type of opioid. That was my guess too, Team Psych. She's really angry. Yes. Right? Thank you. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing what she's saying outward is not what she wants to say. Yep. Just own it, Chantal. We were right. You are in the middle of find out. We warned you. We told you. And now that weak little bastard has got you in the middle of a war talking about my wonderful husband is going to buy me scales so that I can weigh. That is what you're doing, Chantal, in the middle of a bombing. Massacres going on around you. He's got you dressed up like a clown, telling the world that you're losing weight. How's that? How's that feel? You really showed us, didn't you, Chantal? Oh, it's just ridiculous, DB. Yeah, right, Peachy? Look at there. These are people that know this woman. They have been following her for 10 years. This, her the way she's communicating, this is totally abnormal. Totally abnormal. I think she's trying to say, hey, I'm being controlled. This is not right. This is not me. Watch again. It's crazy. I'm going to move my silly birds in the kitchen while this plays because they're so loud.
Health and give you a few updates. So yeah, I'm gonna start with my weight. Now, I don't have a scale here yet, but my husband's salon did say that he was gonna pick one up at some point for me, so that will be coming. I'd like to keep track. But even without a scale, I've noticed that just I guess the stress on my body recently with traveling and just adjusting to a new lifestyle that's not the same at all, really. From what I'm used to. I'm used to it.
That is, this is unbelievable to watch. This is the craziest thing. What a pathetic, pitiful situation.
I guess the stress on my body recently with traveling and just adjusting to a new lifestyle that's not the same at all, really, from what I'm used to. I'm used to a more sedentary lifestyle and I'm used to eating a lot more. So just based on those factors alone, and oh yeah, and perspiring quite a bit every day. I don't know if that makes a huge difference, but it probably makes somewhat, at least for some water weight. So I will show you just, I guess, how this shirt, I always use this shirt that I got in Thailand, um, kind of as like an indication of if I've lost a bit of weight or not. And just by the way this is fitting, to the point where I can actually wear it out, because the buttons are not bursting at the seams, then I know that I've probably lost a couple of inches or so, a little bit of weight. So just being less bloated, this shirt is fitting a lot better. And for that reason, I would say that I did lose a little bit. I still have a long way to go. And I just want to also emphasize very greatly that I did not come to Syria just to lose weight. But if I do happen to adapt a healthier lifestyle and do lose weight,
Okay, again, this shows you that she has no idea what she's talking about, right? She she has zero idea what she's talking about. She's saying as a function of being in Syria that she would adopt a healthier style of eating, right? But what she is completely unaware of is that there is, humanitarian aid, food that is being brought into the country to try to help feed the population. And yes, there are wealthy people living in Damascus, but the majority of people don't have access to food. And because it's humanitarian aid, they're capitalizing on dense, calorie rich foods, aka carbs, rice, and bread. They're pushing that kind of food, things that are high in sugars, because there's only a limited amount of food to go around to a large population. What the hell is she talking about developing a healthier lifestyle? In Kuwait or in Canada, you have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, lean meat. You have every choice imaginable to purchase healthy food, as opposed to the kind of food that we offer on WIC or on, food stamp program, which is all, again, calorie rich foods that are designed to get the most energy from a single dollar. So yeah, she just doesn't have any idea what she's talking about, and she looks zonked out of her mind to me. She looks like she is on some heavy medication. At times she acts like she can't even get her eyes open, right? And they're definitely nearly swollen shut on the inner corners. I mean, this looks really bad. This is really weird. This is very strange.
that is amazing. And yeah, if I'm able to eat more modestly and just move more and enjoy this country, I'll be able to maneuver it better as well. So that will be good. That'll be a lot of better.
She wants to enjoy the country, you guys. What do y'all think about that? Oh, were they bunker busters, Daisy? Yeah, they look like it. Yep. She wants to enjoy the country. Yeah, that makes perfectly good sense. Bombs exploding around. They're using damn bunker busters. Those are some of the most expensive ordnance that we have. But yeah, that's, what that tells me too, Daisy. If they use bunker busters on the military complex and palace, they're trying to kill Jihadi Jolani. They're trying to get him without saying they're trying to get him. But that's what they're trying to do. She has had years to control herself, so nope, ain't happening. This is mindless. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Even like, let me think about like occasionally you'll have some of these special forces guys that they they're not ready to come back to the world and live a normal, regular lifestyle. They're they just are fighters. That's just what they know. That's their profession. That's what's in their blood. And so they will go in search of areas of combat around the world, like Iraq or Iran, Syria. I've always thought that was really, I understand it, but I think it is, just a reflection of PTSD, right? I think it's an identity problem that they can't pull out of that identity as a warrior and assume a different form of identity. They just can't do it. And that's how I look at what she's done. Doing things that are oppositional to what others say, doing it just to sort of thumb her nose at others. And that's pretty much what she's done by going into Syria. The whole world is saying, don't go to Syria. It's incredibly dangerous. The whole world, her government said, no matter what, don't go to Syria. And what does she do? She makes a decision that the government of Canada doesn't know any better. That she and her handsomest man, they know more than the Canadian government. And so to prove herself right, she thumbs her nose at the entire world and goes to Syria and ends up in the middle of another war. Great. And so what does she do? Does she come on and say, you guys, I'm really scared. We could use prayers. Let me tell you what's happening, what's going on. Or, Mom, I love you. I'm really scared. I'm sorry I made this decision. As soon as I can get out, I'm coming home. Does she do any of those normal things? No. She puts out a health blog where she is so effed up, she can't even open her eyes. Man, this looks really bad.
Content for you guys too. So it's a win-win all around, right? So, so for that reason, I would say that I probably have lost a little bit, maybe a very little bit. But yeah, I have not been, there's some parts of my health issues that I can't really talk about because, sorry, the fan. I feel like it might be censored by YouTube. And, in regards to, so if you know what I'm talking,
she feels that her health issues might be censored by YouTube. Okay, Beezers, what is she, or not Beezers, maybe Reaction Channel people, what's she talking about? She said the soldiers are very welcoming. Oh, yeah, it is so telling, only a paw, because the soldiers are Al Qaeda. Yes, Zero. Yeah. Miss Lori, what are her so-called problems that might be censored by YouTube? The woman has done the most outrageous things on YouTube. Yes, Jericho, that's frowned on, but she just got through telling us how she wasn't doing that, how she's losing weight. This channel is defamation at its best. Stop mocking and talking about other people. You know what, Lee? Take your virtue signaling and go someplace where someone cares, okay? I don't have time for this. She'll survive and milk this experience for all it's worth. I don't have that view. I'm deeply disturbed about her. I'm really concerned about her. What does that mean? So you guys think it's the BINGE thing? Yeah, I don't think so. I'm with only a paw. I don't think she gets out of this. I do not think she gets out of this. It is not possible. Oh, hey, Wizard Amigo. I pray she survives. I absolutely remember, Thresia, I was begging her not to do this. I begged her not to go to Kuwait. I begged her not to marry this Syrian man. No, no, I have not an ounce of hate in my heart for this woman. I am not I am not making fun of her. I None of that. I am terrified for her. Absolutely terrified. There's no there's nothing funny about this, Lee. There is not a single thing about this that is enjoyable. This woman needs prayers. This woman needs this woman needs a savior. And I don't know who that is. I do feel bad, Zero. And I haven't been watching her for 10 years. And I know that you guys have. And I get that. And she has behaved abominably. I know that. But nobody deserves to be in the middle of a war zone. No, that yeah, nobody. She needs rescued and deprogrammed. That's the other part of it, isn't it? Even if you were able to get her out, all she's going to do is tell you how, the jihadis are right and you with your westernized thinking is wrong. That's all she'll do. She wore you down, Jericho. That can happen for sure. Yeah. And the poor little cat, right, Helen? The cat just breaks your heart. Poor little thing didn't deserve this, not by a long shot. Oh, it is just awful. This is as bad as it can be.
About its food related issue, I haven't been succumbing to that part of things. So I haven't been, you know, uh, overeating pretty much at all.
But also, Chantal, you did say that Salah left the house and left you with one package of ramen noodles and like a fourth of a bag of potato chips. That's all you had to eat all day. And you literally put yourself into danger by lighting a propane heater with an open flame so that you could cook ramen noodles. I mean, is that why you're not eating? Is because he's just not giving you food?
I've just been eating very modestly. The majority of my diet is, how do I say, like real food, like more natural. Though I do still eat some junk. Like sometimes I'll have a package of Indomie. But the difference is when I have Indomie now, I just have the Indomie noodles one pack with what, like a broth, instead of having three packs that I would have, in Canada or Kuwait, with cream and butter and cheese on it. So just little things like that, I guess, really end up making a bigger difference. So I drink.
Yeah, that was kind of weird right there, wasn't it? Watch.
I would have, in Canada or Kuwait, with cream and butter and.
I want to say something to the mods that are in the channel. If somebody comes in and mentions my profession, I want you to block them. Not timeout. I'm talking about block the shit out of them. This has nothing to do with me and how I work. This is everything about this woman is in real mortal danger. Yeah, a cigarette lighter, not even like one of the big long ones, right? All right, but I do want the mods to block, and you won't get unblocked.
Cheese on it. So just little things like that, I guess, really end up making a bigger difference. So
you see where she's being told what to say, you guys. Watch. Watch your eyes.
bigger difference. So um I drink mostly water. I do allow myself like a really cold treat drink a day.
Why would somebody need to tell her that? Why does somebody need to tell you to say that you drink a lot of water? Like, why? I don't understand that.
I do allow myself like a really cold treat drink a day, like a slush. They're very popular here, or like a cola or something like that. So that's what I do. I just take it day by day and just kind of um, try to really just listen to my body. Like if I'm not hungry, I'm not going to stuff my face, obviously, and that's sometimes I will admit that it is hard. Um, Sometimes there have been like maybe once or twice only since I've been here that I've had time where we're not really doing much and I'm just like watching a movie or something and I really kind of get that habitual urge or that urge sometimes when I want to eat more, but I just like no, I can't. I just psychologically kind of just try to deal with it. It is hard still, but it's less hard here because a lot of my comfort foods and stuff like that, they're not available and they're not easily available, and there's just not really drive-throughs and things like that you can just go to. um, and you know they still have some junk, but it's just not the same as when I was living in Canada or Kuwait. Kuwait has a lot of Western, fast food places and stuff like that. And so, I'm not in my comfort zone. I'm out of my element and I'm forced to just do more activity. Life is just generally different here, and it's a lot. It's harder in a lot of ways, and so um, if you really want to, uh, I guess, entertain yourself, with limited electricity and limited internet and stuff like that, the best thing to do is go out and enjoy life. Go to a park with people and go visit people and just go for.
What is she talking about? What do you mean go out and enjoy a park? There are bombs all over the place where you are. What are you talking? I don't understand. It's so strange, Jackie. There are no parks there. There's no place to go. There's nothing for visiting. I don't know even know what she's talking about. Wow. Yeah, Snicker said it. Go look at the fireworks. Man, alive. It is this is the most. Yeah, go have a picnic. Jericho's got a fabulous eye. Just go have a nice little picnic. Be sure you pack some fresh olives and yeah, enjoy your time. I am mystified.
For walks and stuff like that. So we've been doing a lot of that, and that's been, I guess, beneficial to my health in a lot of ways. So that's the part of the weight update. Uh, now my diabetes. So I took my blood reading today, and actually that inspired this whole wanting to do this update for you guys, because it's so much easier to do these updates when it's going to be a positive one than whenever it's like a negative. But my blood sugar reading, I was so surprised. Like my glucometer has different lights for showing you if it's a good or a bad reading. Now, this is for a diabetic, okay? A normal, healthy, younger person, of course, their blood sugar will be like 5 mmol when fasting, or after eating, it might go up to 6 or something like that. Not much. So, even more, I'm not sure. I don't remember the parameters, what they are for after eating, but it's easy to look up. So, my blood sugar today was a green light. So, I was so happy. Admittedly, I've been neglectful with the diabetes thing in a lot of ways, as in when I ran out of insulin, I didn't go back to see the doctor in Kuwait. I just had a lot going on, and I just never did it. And I just stuck to the metformin I was taking twice a day. Now, I sometimes take it twice a day. I usually only take it actually once a day, which is 1,000 milligrams. And that seems to be working. Like, it's not, I think the lifestyle changes affect it as well. Of course, if you go from eating, my diet was so bad.
Chantal, honey, if you're fasting, your blood sugar is going to normalize, and you're going to get a loss of swelling. It's actually really healthy when you have an endocrine problem to do fasting, but then when you eat, it should be healthy food, not carbohydrates and sugars. So I mean, maybe that's why your blood sugars were normal, because you've been starved. Maybe that's why, because you're not getting to eat now.
At times in Kuwait, most of the time, and in Canada, but most recently in Kuwait, I would order. We would have dinner, sometimes breakfast, dinner, and then another dinner. I guess breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't know. It was all, I didn't have like a structured eating pattern, as you guys know. But you saw from my mukbang videos, my eating videos, like I would eat a lot of junk and processed food, and I would eat a lot of it. I really am convinced the quantity of it that you eat is just mixed.
But everybody's been telling you that, Chantal. That's not new. Everybody has been saying that the amounts of this food that you eat in one sitting, that is incredibly dangerous to your body. But also, we saw you at KFG a few days ago. You ate a meal on your own that was actually for a Lebanese. Okay, so Lebanese style dining is that they bring all the food and they put it in the middle of the table, and then everybody eats from the same dishes, right? That they don't make like a single dish meal for an individual person unless you're in one of the Western hotels or restaurants. So she ordered this big, huge family platter. He ordered a big, huge family platter. And then what did they do? They both proceeded to eat the whole thing. That was enough to feed a family of 6.
Makes such a difference for weight. So I would eat tons of fast food, sometimes 2 to 3 times a day. And then I would have snacks, like just chips, cheese, Indomie. Like, the amount that I would eat, actually, like, it's just, when you really like think about it, yeah, it does make you sick just thinking about it. And I had a lot of issues. So a lot of issues with food, and just a lot of dark times with food. And so, of course, the metformin wasn't enough, right? It just wasn't enough holding the blood. I mean, I just had too much um, blood sugar for it to, I had to be on insulin. Like, I had to. And I find that now, that I'm eating maybe like even less than 1/3 of what I was eating and moving more, I find that that makes a difference because, moving really does affect your blood sugar and in a positive way. So yeah, that's my blood sugar reading today. That was my fasting blood sugar, which is still, I know, kind of high. But for me and my like diabetes standards, that's really low. That's, 3.3 points away from being optimal, super normal. And that's without insulin. So, you know, um, and I hadn't taken my medication yet today. So whenever I do have my main meal, I will have my metformin. And yeah, that's the update for my diabetes. I am no longer taking the insulin. Um, if in the future, I'll keep track of my blood, and if I see there's an issue with the blood sugars again and they're going up again, um, I will seek out medical care for that, and possibly have to go back on something. But yeah, I think that's about it for the diabetes update. One other thing I want to talk about is mental health.
Oh, Lord.
Mental health, from what I read on the internet, when I kind of Googled, are antidepressants available in Syria? And the general answer that came up was they're very hard to come by because mental illness is seen as taboo. And that actually is true and not true.
Oh,
Um,
but
we actually
wait a minute.
did find
Okay, it is 100% accurate, and you are being given something and you can't read the box. You are entrusting the pharmacist, a man, and Salah, a man. You are entrusting them to tell you the truth. So Salah is saying, "Oh, look, we found your medicine, and it's cheaper than what we've been getting." None of that is real. It's just not real, Chantal. The clerics will tell you if you are having mental health crisis, it's because you are being punished by God. It is God's will that you be mentally ill, that you just need to pray more.
a pharmacy that has my brain pills. Um, so the exact brand and everything. So I was just
That's
so
so great.
happy
And it's live.
that we found a pharmacy that has them, and they were a fraction of the price of
You're
what they
lying.
were. And first of all, they were most expensive in Canada. For name brand antidepressant, it was like I think $95.
Okay, challenge. Show the box. Show the box. Let people see what it is that he is purchasing for you in Syria. Show the box. Some of us can read Arabic. Show it. Let's see what you're taking. And that's right, Salah. We can read Arabic.
In Kuwait, for the same name brand antidepressant, it was I think it was like 7 kd or 8 kd. I don't remember what that is. Times that by 4. It was about $30 or so. And then here it's 2 kd. So that's like $8, something like that. It's really affordable. So that's
It's affordable for a Western person that has access to American dollars. It is not affordable nor believable to the population. In fact, the jihadists would say, it's haram, even though they're using hashish and Captagon and other Bango and other drugs. So I don't know what the point is for you to even bring this up. But if you really are taking an antidepressant, show the box. You shouldn't have a problem showing the box.
That's a plus as well. So, some things are more pricier here, but a lot of the things are very affordable in ways that are surprising, So, um, so that's that. I tried coming off of them again, and a lot of people. I know I shouldn't just never do that. Never just come off of antidepressants without medical supervision and without tapering off. But um, I thought I was in a place where I wouldn't have access, and it might not be possible to always to travel to a place nearby where they have some. Who knows what the circumstances? What if it happens somewhere sometime where you don't have access to them? So I was trying to prepare for that, and I thought, you know what? I'm happy. I'm happy right now. Maybe I can do it. But that has nothing to do with being happy or not. It's actual a function in your brain that it regulates. So
What is she
that was rough.
about?
I made it a week, and then by the 8th day I was feeling manic. Yeah. So I just went back on them, and yeah, I'm feeling a lot better.
Yeah.
And I guess that's about it. I know some people are skeptical, like it doesn't work that fast. Actually, I don't know if it's placebo effect, but it does for me. Now, when you
No, it doesn't. The way the medication works, it's not like taking an aspirin. You don't take it and then 25 minutes later you get that drug into your bloodstream. That is not the way it works. It is actually affecting your body's ability to absorb leftover serotonin or dopamine, etc. It takes at least 2 weeks for it to start working. So I don't know what all this nonsense is, but he gives you the pill. 45 minutes, you get so sleepy that you can't keep your eyes open. It is not an antidepressant that he's giving you. Show the box.
You first initially start an antidepressant, it can take weeks to fully, work in your brain and fix things. But once you're on them for that long, I think it probably doesn't take as long. That could be why.
You don't start showing symptoms until day 8 to 12 off the antidepressant. Okay, you don't even start showing the symptoms until then. And that's because of the way the medication works. But you just starting them back, it doesn't, like 45 minutes later, you feel good. It's not like you're in withdrawal from an opiate. It's different. Whatever he's giving you, it is not an antidepressant.
So, yeah, anyway, those are my health updates. I don't know. I feel yeah, feeling okay. I just thought I would let you know how I'm doing, and with regards to that in more detail. So I really appreciate you guys for listening. And in the future, when I have more health updates, I'll let you know. And long road ahead, especially with weight. Long road ahead, but inshallah, bit by bit, we'll get there. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Well, that was weird. It's really weird. That's one of the weirdest lives that I've seen. Like really, really weird. This one was from 13 hours ago. Is this the one where she looks really messed up?
Better put that filter on. Ew. Whatever, anyways.
She just looks. She looks a mess. All right. Oh, it's really sad, only a paw. Yeah, her eyes look really bad. She's definitely looks like she's on something. It, it she doesn't have opioid eyes. The pupils with opioids, the pupils become like little pinpoints, little teeny tiny, highly constricted. Generally, the large pupils are characteristic of like alcohol, amphetamines, uh, alcohol, amphetamine. Uh, Anti-anxiolytics like benzodiazepines. So that's unless it's something like taking Captagon, which is an amphetamine, maybe taking a Captagon that has some kind of opiate in it, like a speedball. That would a speedball would definitely make her pupils large. Yeah, I don't think it's pure. There has been another time that I thought it was opiates, and her pupils were very very small. This looks different. This looks different. She is not herself. I would agree, only Paw. She's different. She's definitely different. Whatever love pill she's on will soon fade as the bombs continue to drop. It 100% net detective. It really hasn't hit her, I don't think, exactly the situation she's in. Yeah, her eyes are either really, really swollen, like this. She can't even hardly open them; they're so swollen. Thank you, Dale. Aren't you sweet? Thank you so much. Appreciate that. But yeah, I think realistically, her safest option, if at this point, I don't think she can get out, but maybe tomorrow once the sun comes up, if she could get into Damascus, that's really the best bet. And even more so, I would say if she could get into like the Christian area, since she is Western, I think they're going to be more accommodating and welcoming if something bad happens. Just stay in the car and just call the Canadian embassy in Beirut. Just call it over and over. Just bug them to death. And I don't know that they can help, but they might be able to direct you to someone in Damascus that at least would be willing to house you, right? At least to keep you there, but keep you safe until they can figure out how to get someone in to get you out. I don't know what you do. I don't know. It's I don't the safest bet would be if the embassy has a contact in Damascus. That's the only. I think that's really the only way you get out. Um, and don't buy food and don't waste your money on a hotel room. You don't know how long you're going to be. Just stay in your car and sleep in your car and stay hydrated and just keep making that call until maybe they finally give you the name of somebody in Damascus that might help you. So that's what I would do if it was me. She should get sober so she can think clearly, which is part of the reason to use the drugs, right, Kelly? That is the reason. People that are addicted, they're highly controllable. So, getting her addicted to a substance, that is one way for him to control her. Once the light bulb comes on in her head and she realizes the reality of the situation she's in, then the drugs become a secondary method of controlling her. Let's see. I'm glad you subscribed here to one of the best channels. This subject is captivating. It has all of us on the edge of our seats. Yeah, that was sweet of Dale. Appreciate that. Makes me sad. Yeah, it's just terrible. It is. This is one of the saddest things that I've seen. And yeah, to get manic, Zoloft is contraindicated if you're having mania problems. 100%. Zoloft, actually, Zoloft will start a manic episode. So yeah, you can't. I don't know why she's saying that she became manic. Um, that's not really withdrawal symptoms coming off of an antidepressant. So glad to see new names in chat today. Yeah, Skitty Nona's awesome. Did y'all have to block anybody, Skitty Nona, when I was talking? It's always a new person coming in and making their little virtue signaling statement, but it's always from a channel that's a day old, so it's probably the same person. We probably know who it is. My daughter has a TBI and Zoloft. Oh yeah, absolutely. Never give Zoloft or really any of the SSRIs for a TBI. So sorry, Saban. I hope she's okay. If anything happens on her lives, we will know about it. Oh, it's just terrifying. A lot of people are saying, but this time, I don't know. It isn't a Zoloft in the serotonin family. Yeah, Zoloft is an SSRI. Is she okay, Saban? No, having a mental health crisis in the middle of a war, I can't think about that. It's just so sad. I take Prozac and have been for years and years to prevent panic attacks. They're very effective against panic attacks. Withdrawal is hell. You get electric shocks. You get electric shocks and your brain gets swimmy, doesn't it, hippie? You'll move your head and it's like it takes your brain 3 minutes to catch up with moving your head. Yeah. Cymbalta is my savior. Zoloft works better on people over 50. I'm 64 now and have been on it for 4 years. For me, it's been a miracle. I'm so glad that you found some help, EpiBug. A new one for people that have really not done very well. That they didn't get any real improvement from the SSRIs. A new medication that's been out the past 5 years or so is called Trintellix. It's available in Europe as well as what's the name in Europe? I think it's Brintellix in England and Europe. It's a different class of medication. It's actually had really, really good results with previously unresponsive depression, and has almost zero side effect profile. So all the side effects that make SSRIs problematic, the Trintellix isn't showing that. So that's another good one. If you've tried it in the past and just haven't found anything, you might ask for the Trintellix. It's great. It's a bit expensive, but boy, it works good. I am happy to say that I was on fluoxetine for 4 years. I weaned myself off and haven't taken it for over 6 months. Oh, 6 years. Wow, Rosebud. That's great. Very nice. Okay. And I can't say this enough. You got to walk. Okay. You got to walk 30 minutes a day. We have a mountain of evidence, empirical evidence, that a 30-minute walk a day is a very, very, very powerful antidepressant all on its own. Whenever you walk, it normalizes your brain chemistry. So fingers crossed, walking only 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be, 3 miles. It doesn't have to be like sweaty and a hard workout. Nope. 30-minute walk without stopping is enough to actually even get you off your antidepressants. We know for a fact it works. Thank you, Reality Chica. Appreciate that so much. Love your name too. Thank you so much. All right, let's see if I had another thing that we were going to show. Oh, yeah, I did have something here. All right, so this So this is, we listened to a little bit earlier, but I thought that we would go ahead and listen a little bit for those of you that were interested. This man is a part of the Druze community, and he's a reporter. And so he's talking about what the reality is of what happened that started the involvement of Israel, that it actually began with the Syrian military, HTS, aka Al Qaeda. They did a massacre on the Druze, and Israel is responding to try and support the Druze and the Coptic Christian population. And there are Israelis in the Golan Heights. So he's explaining that and explaining how it all came to be. And, you know, frankly, the fact that CNN is being so irresponsible to say, oh, Israel invades Syria or Israel bombs Damascus, they're leaving out the action, and they're only publishing the reaction. There had to have been a catalyst to make Israel bomb the military headquarters in Damascus. This was the catalyst, the massacre of 3 minorities. That more than, well, almost 400 of these minorities now have been murdered by the Al Qaeda HTS forces of Jihadi Jalani.
What's happening, and I've been on calls with people in El Sueda from the front line, from the houses. Some of them are my relatives that I didn't know that even existed until the Bashar Assad regime fell down. And then they were brave enough to contact us, and I've been talking to them for the last several months, and one of them died, other got injured. There's a whole family that I've lost contact with. So I don't know. I've been sending the message for the last 2 days.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Zero Regrets. Zero Regrets said, okay, I figured it out. Turn off the VPN. Thanks for all of your information. Love this channel. And I am deeply grateful to you. And thank you so much for your more than generous contribution. I'll use that money to attend a trial. Right. So thank you so much. Not my trial, a trial, the trial of one Barry Lee Morphew. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Days, but I haven't even seen the V click on the WhatsApp, so I really hope that they're safe. What we know right now is that the forces have broke into El Sueda, and not only the jihadists, but actually the government forces, and that they used the famous old, Muslim tactic from the days of the Quran, which is called the hudna, the deception. Yeah. We're coming in peace, but then they just went and attacked everyone. And right now they're actually trying to split the city of Sueda into 3 regions and moving house by house, exterminating everyone in their way, including Christians. I just read a report about a family that 50 members of that family got butchered all together while sitting in the prayer house on the carpets with no weapons in their hands. And they're just going and killing. We've seen images of them shaving the beards of the sheikhs, of the religious leaders. They take pleasure in desecrating the dead and humiliating, innocent people. They take pleasure in that. It's terrible, man. What we're seeing right now is an October 7 repeating itself, only this time in Syria, and again by Muslims trying to kill minorities.
What I think people miss about this whole situation is how dramatic this really is. This isn't some tribal war that's happening where it's a blood feud or something small. There's a governmental attempt. And this is something we've been talking about a lot, where the Syrian government is pretending to be this, this progressive, modernized, new type of Syria. Even President Trump has looked at Ashara, formerly El Julani, and said, look, the guy is, he's a moderate. He's no longer. He has a suit. He has Italian shoes.
Yeah.
He has a trimmed beard. Now he's a hipster, not a gangster.
Yeah. Well, Baghdadi had a $35,000 Rolex watch, right? That didn't make him a moderate. So it just makes them a sadistic bastard when you have enough money that you can walk around with the, $40,000 watch and Armani suits and Italian leather shoes, while your countrymen and the children are all starving. It makes you a madman, right? It doesn't make you a good leader that you can dress up like a new penny and present yourself as appearing to be westernized. That doesn't make you a good guy. So remember, Jelani, and I refuse to call him by his new sterilized name. I know him for what he is. When he was Baghdadi's friend, no, this man is Al Qaeda, and his HTS is Al Qaeda. They did nothing different. They are one and the same.
And in reality, we look at the actions of these people repeatedly. This isn't the first massacre that's taken place in Syria in recent months. They've massacred the Christians. They were violent clashes with the Druze themselves previously. And there were massacres that took place against the Alawite minority within Syria, all in recent months. And in every single case, somehow the Syrian government comes back and says, look, this isn't us. This is other factions.
Yep.
This isn't us. This is tribal. It's a clan war.
And they have just about wiped out the Alawites. If you go through Syria HR and you look at the daily accounting of all the different murders, people going missing, the Alawites are being wiped out. They're killing it. It's a genocide.
Just before we went live, you mentioned that you have evidence proving the exact opposite. That we know that this is coming from the top, that the massacre is intentional against the Druze. And I want you to just explain this also. People might not understand that the Druze are connected to Israel. They're not some random minority, elsewhere. We mentioned this, Toma.
The commando is coming. Like
our commando?
Our commando is getting
into Syria. So as we're sitting right here, there's another update that just happened that Israeli commando forces are entering into Syria right now as we speak. 40 minutes. So
Israel has actually gone across the border and they're in Syria, like in Foodie's backyard. This bad.
Minutes ago or so, our Minister of Defense made a statement publicly saying, we're just going to escalate. This is happening as we sit here. Israeli forces are entering into Syria. Israeli special forces are entering into Syria to stop this. I need to explain this. The Druze community is close to the Israeli public. These are people that we serve together with in the army. You yourself, Mansour, served in the Israeli army. This isn't some random,
And in the same way that the Druze serve in the Israeli army, the Syrian people will serve in the Iranian army. That just gives you some context.
Like minority that we're talking about from another country, these are our brothers in arms in Israel. And for Israeli public, go ahead.
And I just heard what you said, and I gotta say this in Arabic. If there's anyone in Syria watching right now, احنا جايين لعندكم، الجيش الإسرائيلي جاي يدافعكم لإخوتنا، خليكم قوايا، خلوا راسكم فوق. I just told them keep their heads up. People don't understand how dire the fight is there. They're literally fighting for their life. Before I go to the evidence that I said, there was a call that was made by a sheikh from Syria who called an Israeli Druze minister in the government and told him, please tell the IDF to bomb even on us on Sweda. Even if they kill the Druze, let them drop bombs on us. We cannot let our women and children to fall to the hands of these savages. So they're fighting in the streets with everything they have to protect their women and children, to the point that they're saying, just drop it on us. Don't let them take us alive. We're not going to go without a fight. Now, what's very interesting here, people are trying in the West again and again. The West is showing that they keep falling for the ancient Arab lie, where they lie to them and tell them, we're the good guys. Oh, you're the good guys. And they found a way to take advantage of the kindness and hopefulness of Christians. We always hope for the best. We always want to see the best.
I can promise you this. I think he's got that wrong. I think that is incorrect. I don't think that they're manipulating the kindness of Christians. I think the problem is that you've got a lot of people that are in government now that never served in the military. They don't understand they don't understand the Middle Eastern way of life. Anyone who's been in theater, anyone who served in Iraq or Afghanistan, in any of those guys, they understand what actually is happening. And they understand that the ingratiating nature of Islam, that the jihads use overtly friendly behaviors to gain the trust of their enemies. They want the enemy to trust them and believe in them, and so they pretend, they play a role. And then when you least expect it, then they go about their real mission. So I think he's wrong. I don't think that the Americans that they're reacting to Christian. I think that you've got a lot of people that are ignorant of the realities on the ground, the manipulation. I think most of the people that buy into this, oh, the jihadis are just sweet, good people, and we're just persecuting them for their religion. They're usually, they're unsure of, they've not been exposed to reality. And for those of us that have been there, we understand it. We see what it is.
In humans, we always want to see that everyone is redeemable, and it is. Everyone can redeem himself in the eyes of God, etc. But they take advantage of that, and what they're doing, they're pretending to be like the good guys and portraying the Druze as the terrorists. Meanwhile, they're sending their tanks, heavy artillery,
Yes,
Grad rockets.
And the Druze are kind of living like Foodie Beauty. They don't really have much, right? As compared to what is now the Syrian army. So how can you say they're a threat? That this was a village with mostly old men, women, and children, and they were all killed in their homes. This is just like October 7th, when they went in and massacred kids dancing in the desert. They went into Israeli homes and murdered people as they were asleep in their bed. And then they yelled that they were the victims. And it's a little hard. If you're being logical, it's hard to buy that. It's very difficult to believe that. It's hard to say somebody who's asleep, a little kid, you cut their throat when they're laying in their own bed. How was a 3-year-old a threat to you? Like, you didn't even just kill like men or army aged women. You went after very old people and very young people. That doesn't pose a threat to you in any way at all. So it is, when you judge them by their actions and not by their words, then you get a little bit more congruence.
Vehicles with trucks, with dushkas into a Druze village. And here, what I added here, I translated an audio recording of one of the leaders there sending to the soldiers, not to the jihadists, telling them in Arabic, and you can see it, translated to Hebrew and English, but basically telling them, whatever you do, do it. Just don't record in the camera. Don't let them learn from the mistakes of when we slaughter the Christians. And also telling them a command, and let's keep that a surprise. You know what? Let's run the video and then we can talk about it.
تالي لأبنائنا وإخوتنا الأبطال بالسويدة، الجيش العربي السوري والأمن العام، إن رجاء كبير عندكم، ضبوا هواتفكم بجيوبكم، لا تسحب هاتف ولا تصور وتبعت لنا، لا تصور وانت عم تحلق لي الشارع بعرصه، طق رقبته على السكت، ولا تمشوا في ارتال. الله يحميكم، الطيران الاسرائيلي عم يستهدفكم، سياراتكم بين البيوت ضمن الاهالي، فوتوا على البيوت وتحصنوا بالبيوت وتحرقوا الاخضر واليابس، لا تستثني حدا، كلهم خنازير. بس الهواتف نسيتوا صار معكم مع اخوتكم بالساحل، في كثير منهم بعدهم بسجل لهلا، اطفي هاتفك بترجاك.
See what he said? You remember what happened with your brothers? And he's referring to the area where they slaughter the Christians and the Alawites.
Yes.
And they filmed them barking like dogs, murdering them, killing children from their mothers. He says,
they
don't do that.
That just happened. And this guy is saying, hey, soldiers, quit recording. You're putting it out on Twitter. The world can see that you guys are torturing them. I don't care if you torture them. Go ahead and humiliate them. Do what you want to do, but don't record it, because we don't want anyone to know what we're doing. We want to be able to lie. We want to be able to manipulate, correct? Takia. It's actually even got a name. Thank you, Mermaid Motel. It's actually got a name. They will lie to us, the infidel. And incidentally, have you ever stopped to ask yourself, who is the infidel? The infidel are anyone that are not Muslim. If you are not Islam, then you are infidel. No good or bad, nothing like that. It's just the only people worthwhile that have a right to life are people of Islam. If you're outside of Islam, like incidentally, here's another issue. So the current majority in Syria are Sunni. Salah is Sunni. The majority is Sunni, and the Druze are Shia. And that's just another rabbit hole for you to sort of Google and read about and learn. But the Sunni and the Shia, although both Muslim, they've been in battle for eons, right? But really, the Druze go far outside of even the Shia. They're mostly Gnostics. They're very, very different than the Sunni Muslims.
Learn from that mistake, kill them, slaughter them, shave their beards, do whatever you want. And now when Israel is starting attacking them, this is a few hours ago, Israel was just picking them up. Because these guys, I was in the special forces. I was behind enemy lines. I was inside of the defense. I was in the offense. I spent a lifetime in the defense and military world. Many of these jihadists, they don't fight very good. They're not, very tactical. They fight like a horde of zombies. That's why I call them zombies many times in my podcast. And they just...
Part of the reason that they fight like a horde of zombies, as he says, part of that is because most of the jihadists are on drugs. The majority of them are on drugs. Part of that is because the living conditions are so bad that it would make it very difficult to tolerate the never-ending fighting in living in the circumstances they're living in, which is kind of what they're doing to Chantal, right? She's living in this god-awful apartment, no running water, no electricity, no air conditioning, no food, no windows. I mean, I want you to stop and think about her reality, where she came from to where she is today. I just think she's just sleeping round the clock. I think they're dosing her up and keeping her asleep.
They smell blood, they just run at it in big numbers, but when something bigger comes, they scatter, they run like cowards. So when Israel was coming, picking them up from the air, then he added the command, Israelis are looking for you. Go and hide among the civilians. Take them in their houses, use them as human shields, and start moving house to house. And what happened now...
Do you remember what I told you about how Israel calls ahead to say we're going to be blowing up this building because the Al-Qaeda or the Hamas, Hezbollah, they have been storing weapons there and we're about to destroy it. You have 1 hour to get out. Remember I told you that? And that they would actually use women and children as human shields around the building. It didn't stop. It doesn't stop Israel from bombing because they've said we have to destroy these weapons. They go and then the jihadis use those pictures as propaganda to say, look, Israel, they're the murderers of children and women, when they're the ones that took the women and children and tied them to the building. Now he's telling a different story of human shield use. Go into the homes of the Druze. Use the families in their homes. Use them as human shields. That's in your village, Chantal. They're doing that where you and Salah live. But don't you worry, because I got a feeling about old Salah. I think Salah is absolutely friends with these guys. You said it first. They're so nice. their machine guns are so cute. Remember that? That hadn't aged very well at all, has it, Chantal? Go ahead and accept it, Chantal. You're in the middle of Al Qaeda heaven.
Now is that the factions of the Muslim Bedouin from the area of Daraa and the government that are inside of Sueda, but 25% of Sueda have fallen last I've checked, maybe even more now. They're not running in the streets anymore because they're afraid, because the Druze are ambushing them in the streets. So what they're doing, they're just bunkering in house to house, killing everyone in the house and moving to the next house. Let me read to you something tragic that I've received, from one of my sources from Syria. And this is a message that was sent by a mother in Syria. A mother from Sueda just called me and I'm beyond shattered, hearing her voice and the gunfire in the background. She alone with her gun because her son went to fight. And she's telling me that the terrorists and the Bedouins with them are in the neighborhood, barging into people's houses and executing them without even robbing the house or anything. Just killing them on the spot and moving to the next house. It's terrible. And then she added, the National Hospital in Sueda have just fallen too because they were hiding also in the hospitals. What's happening in Syria, for everyone who doesn't understand, the fathers are waking up in the morning and they're putting a shotgun in the hand of their son. He might be 12, 13 years old, and telling him, son, you have just became a man today. Your father's going to go to war. And then he promised him, it's probably the hardest thing. Your father is myself. You don't want to lie to your kid, but they're promising Abba will come back. Your father will come back. But he probably knows he might not come back. But he tells him these words, and I've heard this several times. Don't let them take your sister and your mother alive. Wow. Imagine you're 12 years old and you're sitting there. And then they come into the houses and they start murdering them. I start tearing up when I hear these things. I get really upset. Such evil is allowed to walk this earth. And that's why when you just shared right now that the Israeli commando is going in, the Air Force, I was so happy. Finally, these jihadists need to be sent, and forgive me, anyone's watching right now, they need to be sent to hell to meet some goat-headed demons, not their virgins up in the sky, because that's their belief. They believe that if they kill people, they're going to go to heaven. Martyred. Yeah, that is so twisted up, so messed up. And Israel is right now.
But that's the manipulation, right? That's the manipulation, how the clerics and the generals and such, that they can get people to do these crazy actions that could not be achieved any other way, is to convince them that there will be good things that will come as a result. And for me, I think one of the most surprising things for me, it wasn't the whole promise of the virgins, right? I mean, everybody's heard of that. And, I get that. Everybody wants to be loved and everybody enjoys sex. And I get that as a tool. But here's the thing for me that really kind of shocked me, was that they make the promise that if you martyr yourself, that you are going to become very beautiful. Now they're saying this to the men, that they're promising the men if they martyr themselves, they're going to be very handsome and strong and very beautiful men. Isn't that just the craziest thing to think about? Yeah, it's really crazy. She literally I talk out of both sides of my mouth. What do you mean, Denise? I don't feel like I do. Did I say something weird? Let me see what y'all are talking about. Huh. Well, if I offended, I apologize. Hey, Christo, how are you? What Foodie is already saying, if I die, I die. Oh, well. And she is so blind to it. Oh, you're talking about Foodie Beauty. Yeah, I see that now, Zelda. Thank you. But you know what, Denise? Don't you think she's different? Like just this past week, don't you think her whole presentation has changed quite a bit? Beauty. Yes, KJ. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Absolutely. I suppose what demons find attractive may vary. Yes, absolutely. Zero respect for life. zero. I will never ever be on that side. I know Israel has issues, but lesser of the evils. Yeah, totally agree, zero. I stepped out for a minute and just saw your comment. Hang in there, it gets easier. Oh, is Nancy Jules adds it? Well, yeah, Janet, Jackie, I think Foodie is now being controlled. I think the honeymoon is over and Salah has let the cat out of the bag.
Attacking them, but that's the reality that we're seeing right now in Syria, and it's horrible.
Let me give this a name, Mansell. The name of what we're witnessing right now is an attempted ethnic cleansing. That's what
Yes.
it is. This isn't, and it's important to say, this isn't political. This isn't about a land dispute or a clan dispute, and it isn't just about religion. It's an attempt at ethnic cleansing. And the Syrian government has repeatedly tried to do this. They did it to the Christians, they did it to the Alawites, they did it to the Druze more than once. This is not the first time that they've had violent clashes. In the Druze community, and we've been watching this develop over recent days, you've seen the groups talk more and more and more about breaking into Syria and sort of joining their brothers in arms. And we just saw this about a couple hours ago. We saw now the number, we're looking at several outlets here, the number is over 1,000 Israeli Druze that have crossed over into Syria. That's the current number.
It's going to get
and
bigger.
my guess is going to continue to get bigger. There's reports of caravans of
The
buses.
army is coming.
Yeah, caravans of buses of Israeli Druze that are going up to the Golan Heights border to join their brothers inside Syria and fight alongside them. And people might not know this. I mean, many of the Israeli Druze serve in the army and the armed forces. A very high percentage of them in special
Trained
forces, in
fighters.
in combat units.
They actually have the highest rate of combat unit, among all of the Israelis, because they're
I believe it.
I think it's like about 80%, maybe went down to 60, while the other groups are 20 to 15%. So most Druze men go to combat unit, they go to special forces. And there's a lot of these Druze that have showed, and many of them are generals, officers in the army. I was an officer, they're very trained, very capable. And I tell you what, Mati, and I think some people might miss the reason they just now broke into Syria. Because I haven't did that yesterday. The slaughter started yesterday before, just now.
Yeah.
When they started hearing that Sueda is about to fall. The biggest Druze population on earth is in Syria. There's about 1.5 million Druze all across the world. Mm-hmm. Most of them live in Syria, and most of them live in Sueda. That's the Druze mountain. When they realized that the jihadists are inside with tanks, with artillery, they're using drones, by the way, that apparently, as per my sources on the ground in Syria, were bought by Qatar. So they don't have drones, the Druze. They have just AK-47 and some sniper guns, maybe an RPG or two. They're running out of ammunition. They're fighting against tanks, artillery, drones, military equipment against the army of Syria. So when the Druze realized that Sueda is about to fall and that it's been held by a needle, by a hair thread, just because there's brave, strong men and women that are refusing, by the way. And if anyone American is hearing it right here, here's a very good reason why you should not let your people just get disarmed because the government promised you. Because look what happened in Syria right now. And I'm not a warmonger. I don't, enjoy carrying loads of weapons and living in a hut in the middle of the desert full of like machine guns and traps outside my house. But what you're seeing there is this. The government is coming, asking to disarm these people and asking to kill them. And the only way they can defend themselves right now is by standing strong and running outside and fighting against these invaders that came to kill their families. Yeah. Now, with that,
Mansell, let me just add one word. Especially when you live under a dictatorship, and especially when that dictatorship is jihadist and Islamic. Yeah. Then you know that if you're a minority, and this has been a repeated theme in the Middle East, if you are religious, ethnic, or otherwise minority, they're coming to get you at one point or another. And we've seen Syria. This happened in Iraq previously. This happened under ISIS throughout the Middle East. Every time this happens, it happened, by the way, in Egypt in the Arab Spring. Every time the Islamics come to power, there was the Muslim Brotherhood. Here it's ISIS, different name, same ideology. It's always
And the reality of this particular clash, this southern Syria, Golan Heights area, the reality is that there is lots of land. There is plenty of land to go around. And there's literally no reason to fight other than ethnic cleansing. The only reason that the army had to go in there and kill all those women and children was because they are Druze. No other reason than they're Druze. And then though the fighting faction, those people that are in the Golan Heights or have fought with Israel, they come down and they say, no, we're not going to sit here and let you literally wipe out our women, children, and old men. And now we got a full-blown battle. So this biblical disagreement, this has been happening for eons. But I think for me, one of the things about this that is so critical to remember, this Syrian government, this is like literally, this is Jihadi Jalani. And this is Al Qaeda. He's the leader of Al Qaeda, Al Nusra. He's the leader of Al Nusra, and all he did was, tidied up his beard, traded in his fatigues for an Armani suit, and he proclaimed during a newscast one day, I am not evil. I am an angel. I want us all to exist together. He literally calls himself an angel. And now 2 weeks after the US lifts sanctions, he's got his Al Qaeda army wiping out the Druze population that lives in southern Syria. Why not just leave them alone? Why not leave them alone and let them live? They have no kind of artillery, or they don't have anything that's a threat. Well, you know what, KJ? If you look at the rockets they fired today on Damascus, they used their big ones. They used a bunker buster. Just poured a glass of Cabernet Sauvignon. Who else is having a drink with me? You're so classy, Denise. Be sure you have your little pinky out, okay? Yeah, so this is just a crazy it's a crazy situation, isn't it? I mean, it's a nightmare in terms of the reality of the news and this area of the world, and the minorities and the religious fights and all of that is terrible. But how the hell does our foodie beauty interject herself into world affairs? I want to know this. How does one person make so many wrong choices that you become the topic of conversation during the beginning of World War III? It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. So, has a question for those of you that have actually been looking this up online. Has anyone seen Jihadi Jalani since the bombing in Damascus? Has he gone on TV? Has anybody seen an interview? Or does he seem to be quiet? Because maybe they got him. So we'll see. But anyway, pray for Foodie Beauty. I don't know what else you do. It's a disaster all the way around. She had a neuropsych exam, and you have to stay committed, count calories, watch the quality of the food. Yeah, it possibly, Zelda. Maybe. Maybe so. All right. Well, okay. So I wonder if I had something else I was going to show. I think I showed that. Well, this is a different perspective. I can show this. Hold on. Share. All right, so this is a much closer photo, right? Huge, huge bomb. There you go. It was the big one, wasn't it? Man, it was enormous. There's no way anybody survived that in that building. No way. All right. Oh, y'all didn't get to see that. I did it again, didn't I? I'm so bad about that.
الاركان بشكل كامل. قصف ثاني دمروه منتصر صوت يا شباب قصف جديد مبنى هيئه الاركان خالص.
Huge.
قصف جديد يا شباب قصف خذونا بسرعه 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 بسرعه. اذا استهداف مبنى هيئه الاركان بشكل كامل. قصف ثاني دمروه منتصر صوت يا شباب قصف جديد مبنى هيئه الاركان خالص. قصف جديد يا شباب قصف خذونا بسرعه 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 بسرعه. اذا استهداف
It was a massive bomb. Also, there is some news. Israel is taking troops from the Gaza Strip and they're moving them to the Syrian border. So they're expecting an escalation, obviously. Wow. It is a huge disaster, Corgi. And how many other Western women are caught in this? Yeah, 100%. That's the real issue, the focus of interest in this, right? Is why does a woman ignore her instincts for self-preservation and put herself in such a dangerous situation? Why? What leads a woman to do that? Ladies, when other people are saying that you have to have your own identity and know who you are, and that means you've got to know the things you like, you have to know what your own opinions are, you have to know what you're good at, you have to know what you want to have, like what you want to work toward in the future. Those are the things that define you. You are not defined by whether a man loves you or who that man is. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who your partner is. It doesn't matter if you even have a partner. The thing that serves you well and keeps you strong and keeps you safe is that you have a good, firm grip on your own identity and that you like the person you are. Never hand a man a stamp of approval to put on your forehead. Never. Because when you depend on someone else for your esteem, when you depend on another person to identify who you are, you find yourself in the middle of religious wars. You make decisions that are so foolish that you end up hiding in a house where there's bombs going off around you. That's why you don't give your life over to a man. You can love a man, you can partner with a man, but never give up your need for self-preservation. Never give up your safety. It is your job to protect yourself, and it is your job to protect your children, period. All right, I'm off my soapbox. That was it for me. Sorry about that. That happens every now and then. I have to apologize for that. It's in my nature. All right. Yeah. So thank you, God. Hey, Effie Bug. So thank you guys so much for listening to me on my soapbox. I appreciate that. I, for one, will be praying for Foodie's safety. Lord knows she needs it. And you know what, Chantal, reach out if you need somebody to message or to get information to your family. I'm happy to help you do that. All right. Y'all have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you so much. Please hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe. And of course, I'll be back. Bye.
Foodie beauty, her name. On YouTube she reigned, with laughter and feasts, her mouth unrestrained. She met him online, a Syrian soul, in Kuwait's golden sands. Their love took its toll. Oh, food beauty, foolish and old. Do your worst, she cried, her story unfold. Now in Syria's dust, where shadows abide, an outlawed queen with nowhere to hide. No water, no light, just hunger, harsh sting. Her emptiness burns, she will do anything. Her stomach is empty, her soul even worse. Her need for a man's love is her very worst curse. In Kuwait, she taunted, do your worst. Defiant and proud, she retreated and cursed. But the law struck hard, now a life of crime. They fled to the warlands, no rhythm, no rhyme. Now in the ruins of Syria, hope fades. No Wi-Fi, no air, no bright yesterday. The table is bare, the faucet dry as stone. Her love by her side, an empty, cruel home. Oh, foodie beauty, foolish and bold. Do your worst, she cried, her story untold. Now in Syria's dust, where shadows abide, and now a queen with nowhere to hide. No water, no light, just hunger, harsh sting. Her heart is humming a mournful lost string. In the silence, her memories quietly weep. Yet some